Well, good evening, everyone out there in streaming land. The fellas from the View are back this week. We're back off hiatus and ready to get back at it. We're with some current event topics. We're not gonna keep you long tonight. We're gonna run through these events and tell you what else on our mind and see if we can get a feedback from the audience out there. So if y'all ready to go ahead and introduce yourself, Irie. Let the people know who don't know who the fabulous chef Irie is.
What's up, everybody? What's up? It's the bridge time. Yeah, man, Chef Irie, private chef, caterer here in South Florida. Author, cookbook author. That's what I do. You know, currently a host on the Ricky Smiley Morning Show every Monday morning, 9:30. So you can catch me there. Just doing what we do here in South Florida. Take care of people, take care of food, take care of business. And tonight, chilling, talk some stuff, and then chill some more.
All righty. And so I'm James Howard, the co-host with Chef Irie and the producer of The Bridge, um, mainly in media production. And we ready to get this thing off. We're going to start off with what everybody is talking about, COVID. It
Mm,
can't get off of mine because looks like it's here to stay for a good little while.
hmm
Let's
Yes,
let's
sir.
talk about Moderna rolling the test out for kids, doing trials, making kids little guinea pigs.
Well, at least they are um, doing, the test because all the tests, most of them didn't do any testing on kids, 17 and younger, I think, and then of course, smaller kids. So based on what they were saying, you know, from the evidence, from the research and the tests that they done, that they didn't see a great need, I think, at the time, to do the testing on smaller kids or younger kids. But I think if you're going to, um, engage people to take the vaccine, you would want to have, everybody um, vaccinated, inoculated, whatever you want to call it, because there are instances where young kids may not have, you know, you know, any distinct symptoms per se, but they themselves can catch it and then give it back to their parents. And quite a few people that I know, parents with kids, young kids, um, anywhere from 6, 7, 8 to up to 12, 15. They've caught COVID from their kids, and some of them were lucky enough, not to have gotten it. But once it was discovered that the once they do all the tracing, it's like, yeah, and where the kid, got it from. So some people were fortunate, and some people were not. So I'm glad that they're actually doing, testing, for kids. And so I think everybody, a majority of the population needs to be vaccinated in order for us to feel like normalcy is sort of what the times require. And I think for normalcy, any kind of real normalcy, most of the country needs to be vaccinated. And I think if a lot of people keep persisting and saying no, they don't want to. I mean, those are the people now you're gonna have to look out for. You know, so yes, numbers are going down, but hey, what can I say? People need to go out there and get vaccinated. So I mean, I'm still waiting to get an appointment so I can get mine done too.
Okay, well, Moderna is saying they're gonna roll out over 60, what that is, 6,700 kid shots for kids to participate in from
Okay.
12 and under. But and
Okay.
they were monitored for the first year after the second injection.
Okay. Which
So,
which definitely makes sense. But I think the biggest concern when it comes to the kids is not so much the kids getting direly sick, but the people who they're around, and the two sets of people that kids are around are your family at home and school, and so I think the teachers are very concerned when you're going through all the protocols of what it means to be safe opening schools. And if they are not themselves getting, being they should be, should have been like I feel like they should have been on the front line, regardless of what CDC say. Screw that, and people talking about opening safe and blah 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 blah. But you need to be protecting people who are taking care of you know little people who are eventually going to come into your house. You know, kids. I don't care how much mask you ask kids to put on. You know, most of them can be disciplined, but not all of them will stay disciplined enough to keep that mask on when they leave their house, when they're interacting with their friends, their little friends. Some people describe them as, with their little grubby little hands, what have you. But the thing that we've seen since last year, bro, is the severe reduction in people who have or have not caught the flu. And the biggest reason is that people were being fastidious about washing hands and
mhm.
sanitizing and stuff like that, on a daily basis. And one of the reasons why most people would get sick with flu and stuff like that, because we're always around people that weren't doing any of that stuff. People weren't, washing and sanitizing, all day, every day. You go in the elevator, people were wearing masks. People sneeze in the elevator. Guess what? Boom, you breathe that in, you gonna catch the flu, especially if your immune system is down. So the amount of people who have caught the flu has it like when I say it's like down to minuscule numbers. You know, you might want to say it's insane, but it's definitely because of what we've been having to do because of COVID. Staying clean, washing our hands, staying away from people, don't be touching people. People are always touching, touching, touching. One of the things that I'm glad that I don't have to do much of is shake hands. Now I can freaking elbow bump or fist bump or what have you instead of shaking hands with people. Because when you observe what a lot of people do out in public, a lot of us, especially a lot of men, man. I don't know if you go if you observe people in the bathroom, bro, in public bathrooms. Goddamn.
No, I'm gonna tell you something that I saw last night because we was out to eat, and this kid at like 3 tables away had his hands inside his pants at the table in front of his parents. He's standing up doing this, and I'm like, they gonna just let him keep doing this? Like, bro, you realize y'all out in public, right?
Mhm.
It's bad enough if you do it at home, but you out in public. People are trying to eat.
You see, a lot of one of the big problems, with a lot of families that go out, I think, is a lot of people seem to think that when they're out, they're still at home.
Mhm.
You know, like the same thing you do at home, is basically the same thing they're doing, and they feel that it's okay. So they're just literally transferring their bad habits from home, the dining room, in the living room, and as they're out in public, it shouldn't really matter because this is a country that says I can do whatever I want because I have that right. So they're basically gonna say, yeah, my kids have the right to stand up and put his hand in his pants and suck his finger and You
Well,
know, they all should be able to say no, not
let's rewind that though. The other society,
me.
is they're allowed to do whatever they want. Because
Indeed, indeed.
because I'm still looking. I was just in Naples Saturday and looking at people still protesting Biden winning the election on the corners with signs "Save America."
They're still protesting the win.
Ari,
Yeah.
I was like, yo, I'm like, they really out here
Hmm.
with and one just one person. It was like 10 of them, and they had signs up. Biden cheated, and I'm like, man,
Hmm.
y'all really still on this junk over here.
Well, they're still on this jump because the people in the Senate, and of course that other dude that left in disgrace, they're still pushing those those talking points. Um, sorry, they're still pushing those lies. Um, you know, that are now sort of running as talking points. So they're still in that bubble and believing that this thing, is so. No, it has magnified now. So it's not only that they just these are the things that they believe in, but there's no turning back and there's no convincing them otherwise. This is not just what we believe. This is what it is. And they're going on that premise that the elections were stolen, the way people vote is bad, and so we're of the belief that we're going to get it nullified. They're still believing that, and but remember, no, last week, what was it?
The
March
fourth,
March
the
4th.
fourth, yeah,
Yeah,
he was
he
supposed to
was
be reappointed.
yeah, and inaugurated.
Hmm.
So now they have. So what you find on social media and the way they're talking to people, what these groups are saying. Okay, maybe we won't keep putting dates in the things that we're talking about, but we'll still say that this is going to happen, but we just won't give you a specific date because they don't want to make their people feel disillusioned. Like, oh my God, that this date comes and nothing happens. So I don't know how they feel. 'Cause I haven't spoken to anybody that truly has that mindset right now. And frankly, I don't know if I could last 2 seconds or 2 minutes in a conversation with her.
Yeah, but I'm gonna stay on point on this and talk about this Moderna and the kids because I'm skeptical on anything really that the country does,
Hmm.
and it involves us as a people because I don't feel our best interest is always at heart with the country. Because I said this is the perfect time for them to try to sterilize kids with the shot. Because they was doing it in Africa, and I'm like, Bill Gates is a firm believer in that he wants to do that, and I'm like, who says that powers to be that have the money and the hold of the pharmaceutical industry
Hmm.
try to slip that in there somewhere? It's okay for the adults, but you're talking about sterilizing the possibility of sterilizing the future generations to where there would be no generations.
Okay. Hmm. Sterilized kids. Hmm. Well, is that uh is that in the same realm of conspiracy theories, or it just on the backs of this is my opinion, um that is, I share or has been shared with me as well with other people. I'm sure you're not the only person that probably thinks that kids are going to be you know
Well, I'm saying that because the United States has a history. They have done it
mhm,
with us as a people, and not and did it silently. You know, and this is another point where they can try to do it again
mhm.
and do it in the in the behalf of saying, "Oh, I didn't know it was a trial. We didn't know it was going to take effect like that."
And I think that I think we alluded to this a while back and we spoke about education about everything. But I think me say a person like me coming from the outside and learning all this history and for the different instances from the Tuskegee airmen to other people um, where these tests were done in secret and stuff like that. But I think with the way the vaccines have been developed, um, I just think that everybody you know has to take their own their own assessment, make their own assessment by what they're reading, what they're listening to. Um, and maybe some people are taking the wait and see approach. Um, but I think, and I don't want to sound like I'm just blindly saying everything is going to be good for everybody. But I think everybody should just make an educated assessment of what is going to be best for them. Um, because I think at any rate, most people will have to be vaccinated. Because you're going to find instances where people are not vaccinated, and you're going to find you know places where the numbers you're going to start seeing some spikes again, especially after this damn spring break, man. You know, here in Miami and Fort Lauderdale and wherever else in Florida, Panama Beach and whatever. And when you see the crowds of people, ain't nobody can tell me that everybody on the beach is COVID free. Everybody on in the restaurants are COVID free. You know, you there's just it just ain't happening. And all it takes is that's what happened last year. These people came down and they took it home with them, and next thing you know, young people were getting sick. But at that time, remember back in March, April,
Hmm.
eh, we were still trying. They were still trying to give us, the protocols, what to do, what to really adhere to. And a lot of the young people at that time were like, "No, we good, man. We good. We're immune. We're people of steel. Ain't nothing gonna happen to us."
Hmm.
And what you started seeing was younger people now were starting the numbers in their group had started to go up, and not only had it started to go up in terms of just catching the thing, younger people were getting severely ill, and then after the whole spring break thing, the people that they started to surround themselves, their family and stuff, family members were starting to you know, you know, get infected as well. So um, I think yeah, we all are going black and white, and I know it's a big stretch in the black community, all across the country, and in fact all across the world, because um, it's gonna take people come out and say, hey, look, this is safe enough for you to do, especially when it comes to our community. And I wish I lived in some of these damn communities, man. I could just walk. I could just literally walk up and go get a vaccine because they get release disbursements for certain areas, but ain't nobody going up to get the vaccine. Not many people, and so they started these door to door programs where they'll have administrators and people in the health profession that took the point, and started knocking on doors, and talking to people, hey, this is why you need to get vaccinated. These are the ones that are here in the country, and they started this before the Johnson and Johnson vaccine was approved. So basically, it was just Moderna and Pfizer, and then they started a new campaign when the JJ one came out, to really uh, impress upon people that, okay, so you don't have to go take two, you can take one shot and you're done with it, instead of going through the hassle. Okay, getting the shot, and I gotta come back 2 weeks later, get another shot. So they were really trying to push, you know, um, lessen the incidence of the amount of times that you have to go take the shot. So if you ask me, I think everybody eventually is going to have to get vaccinated, but it's going to take more out of us to convince people in our populace and our categories to take the vaccine. Especially knowing that we are a people with afflicted highly with diabetes, hypertension, and other stuff, and they've added those people on the list of people who are now qualified to get the vaccine. And for most of us, those are things that we need to be paying attention to. You know, if you get the vaccine and you have certain comorbidities, are you confident in yourself, knowing that will you survive it, or not? Based on your underlying health issues. If you're a healthy person, most people are not thinking too much of it. But I think, for us in the Black community, those are things that we need to be mindful of. Our underlying health issues, and why is it beneficial for us to go and take the vaccine?
Well, I agree with you with that, Ari, but I see another problem because people think that we as a community are not taking the shot, and we're turning out and taking the shots.
Hmm.
It's the Republicans, the Trumpites that are not taking the shots. The
Hmm.
ones that's not even wearing the mask, they're still that's out there refusing to put on a mask. These are the people that's not taking the shot, and but it doesn't reflect that way. Most people think that we're not taking the shot because of the history, and
Right.
our history shows that no matter what, we're still going to do our part.
Right.
That we're going to do our part. So if that's the history of us, we're going to do our part, but y'all they have to do their part too.
Hmm. Yeah.
And that's why I say don't be. I'm skeptical because why y'all not taking the shots? And y'all the main ones that's driving forward, but you're not taking the shots.
Here's also the deal too, especially that ass, that senator who's been spewing his racial bullshit. Um, was it Johnson?
The
So
one that was lying about black people as a culture and stuff lately.
yeah, the one that said he wasn't afraid of the crowd that was there
Mm-hmm.
on January 6th, but if it was BLM protesters, he would be definitely afraid. He would be concerned if it was BLM that was out there protesting if Trump had won. So
But
um,
see
he,
that's the thing that we can do what's right, and you still want to promote that we are people to fear.
Right. So his and the reason he gave for not taking the shot is that he had gotten COVID. So he was like, well, because I had COVID, I don't feel it. I don't feel like I have to go and get a shot. That was what he said.
And then I was like, you big dummy, you could get it again. You had the flu once. You still get
Uh,
the flu every now and then.
yes. So and the thing is, the whole incidence of people catching COVID twice.
Mhm.
Um, they don't talk a lot about that part right now. And I know people personally who have gotten it twice. So it's not a fallacy. It's not something that's fake. There are people who have gotten it twice, and they were probably under the same impression that because I got it once, oh, all these antibodies are building, blah blah blah. I don't need to get a shot, you know, um, or I don't need to go take a shot now because I already got it. And you can still catch it twice. There are people I know that have gotten it three times. You know,
3 times they better sit in they butt in the house and not go nowhere.
they don't understand the concept as Jamaica would say, "Tanayayad."
Mhm.
So they're not believing that this thing is truly you know a degrading monster when it comes to health issues and the lives of people. I went to a funeral week before last. You know, yes, older for sure, but that was definitely not something that any of us was expecting to see or hear happen, but it did. And when I hear people out there saying, "Get over it," like get over it. Well, you should go and tell the people who just lost auntie, brother, husband, wife, son, daughter, grandmother, whatever, and tell them to get over it while they sit there looking across from the dining table where someone should be, in the bed where someone should be, in the office where someone should be, and they're not there because they're passing COVID. So I just think that there's still a lot of selfishness. Even if you feel a certain way, then if you care about other people, then be selfish for yourself, but don't get other people involved, because of your selfishness.
So I want to ask this point that since I'm gonna jump to another topic that I know I haven't seen it yet. I'm gonna ask you, have you seen it yet? Because it's been the latest craze that everybody has been talking about. Have you seen Coming to America too?
No, I haven't seen it yet. I have to go watch it on my phone because that's the only thing. Unless I can download. I don't think I can catch it on my computer on my TV because my TV is not a smart TV to get Apple. I mean, Amazon Prime.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but no, I haven't seen it yet. But from the reports and comments and so review, what have you, people say that it was good. They enjoyed it. They thought it was funny. They were bigging up Eddie Murphy. Uh, you know, I saw some of the outtakes, and after what 20, how many years was the first one? 20 some years.
Yeah, 20 something.
It so I saw the makeup that they did, for the characters with our singing, especially the barbershop dudes,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like they never left the screen, so they just to reprise those roles. Um, but when you look at that, though, it just talks about the genius, I think, of an individual, to be able to play multiple characters, in a scene, you know. especially when it comes to to comedy. And I
Mhm.
think people don't understand how much of your talent that you're seeing for someone to actually to get that done. You know, it takes a lot. For but shows you the genius of that individual, Eddie Murphy. But I hear I hear the movie. The movie was good though.
Yeah, well, I know that when you speak of him playing the multiple characters, he uses the same makeup artist over the years. Even in the first Coming to America, he
Okay.
used Ron Baker, and that's who he's been using the all for all the characters. He when he played multiple characters,
Hmm.
uses the same makeup special effects makeup guy.
Yeah. But see, that's a good way when we often talk about you know um, bringing up or keeping someone whether it's through employment or what, but the bring up. And I'm sure could I use somebody else, but not just because you're comfortable, but you're sort of keeping you know a lot of the work in house, so other people can be recognized, along the way. So that's definitely a good thing that he kept, those people. So at least you have, some consistency in the continuity, what's being portrayed on screen.
Oh yeah, and plus the movie was shot at Tyler Perry studio, and the mansion, the palace was Rick Ross was shot in Rick Ross' house, and
Yeah,
the movie gave uh, um, a lot of opportunities to minorities
that's good. So, Rick Ross's house here or in Atlanta?
in Atlanta.
Oh, okay.
The
Yeah, there are. Yeah, I mean, there are there are a lot more minorities involved in this movie. Especially in terms of the smaller roles and stuff like that. There seem like there are a lot more black people involved in the making of the film. You know, I think in front of the screen and behind the screen.
Yep, that's the blessing of being able to have a big name and keep your people employed because you
And
can demand that.
and of course, it's good that they shot it at Tyler Perry, because I know that the protocols, at especially at his studios, the COVID protocols are strict. Like you get to Tyler Perry studio, you know, but when the movie was shot, when the movie was shot, mostly last year or the year before, or the year before.
Well, it was already in process, and when COVID came down, and because I work in the industry, mm, technically protocols are really strict for
Hmm.
the industry.
Yeah,
Even Tom Cruise was ready to kick people off the set of
hmm
his movie for not following protocol.
yeah. I remember reading and seeing that. Um, yeah, 'Cause- yeah, because some people tend to take it. A lot of things people take for granted, and when they go through you go through all this work to say, all right, we're going to be here for the next 2 weeks, to whatever, however long it is, and these are the protocols you need to go through so that we can all remain on set and complete the job. And if you are an individual that just goes out, you leave, if you're able to leave, and you're acting like some casual little outing is not going to matter, but it matters to somebody else. Even if nothing happens, it matters to someone else who takes it very seriously. So I can see how Tom Cruise would let off, and try to ignite a fire because his health. Tom Cruise is in his 50s now. You know, but you have to be mindful of everybody else that's there on the set because if one person gets sick on the set, guess what? The set gonna have to close down. Everybody gonna have to get tested. The set gonna have to quarantine. Before you can start work. Work production again. So yeah,
and
yeah.
he's gonna be mad because he's the one that's paying for everything.
See what I see what I'm saying? Yeah, yeah. So you mean for the next Mission Impossible? That's coming out of his
He's
cap.
executive producer.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
Mhm. I think he's been the executive producer on the last two. So
Okay.
it behooves him for them to follow protocol. Because if they don't follow protocol, like you said, they shut down the set and he's losing money.
Right. Yeah, because the longer you, especially when you've started production,
Hmm.
because once you start production, yeah, and because you have a deadline, there's a deadline, and so if ain't nothing going, you're losing time, you're losing money, because you're just losing money. Yeah, people they're not into this now, to lose money, and I guess that's why a lot of those films there have been so many delays on opening. The one film that I'm waiting to see has been the last James Bond flick, and that was supposed to come out from shit. That was supposed to come out from early last year. From July in summer, and it went from July to September to November. So I think at some point later this year, it's gonna get released. Now that you can get things streamed on HBO Max. So I'm assuming that it's going to come out sometime later this year.
Who
It
who
was already
who
it was already done.
what company is that with? Or you don't know?
The James Bond movie. I don't
Yes,
remember.
because that'll
Yeah.
affect on who it comes out with.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So it might not. And the price say yeah. So it may not. I know it's not going to be on Disney. Uh,
Hmm.
yeah, because that's not a Disney really type of movie. So I know it's not going to be streamed through Disney Plus. But what gets me with all this stuff that's going on is that now, because of all the streaming platforms, it almost feels like politics to me. You can have because there's so many platforms. It just seems so divisive. No, you can't get it on HBO, so we're gonna put it on. So if you want to see it, see whatever you want to see. Either you're gonna pay it, whether it's short term or what have you, to subscribe to several streaming platforms.
Hmm.
So when I hear people tell me, well, people who do things above board, like how much streaming services that they're subscribing to. I'm like, dude, really? Is it that serious? You know?
I'm one
So,
of them. I'm one of them.
you
I,
know,
I've been told I have almost every streaming service there is.
mhm. Oh, goodness gracious, But I guess everybody see, just like regular economics, man. And you have a subscription service that comes out. So most people don't look at the long term build up. It's like you just see initially, oh, Disney Plus $4.99 or whatever it is. The other one might be $3.99. Some might be $4, $5. So you see that initial offering. So when you start doing that, and you have four, five, six of them, and that's every month plus your regular cable bill and all that stuff, and your internet, you might have to go get more internet speed. you know. So yeah, all these things, do add up. So I'm fine. I didn't even realize that I got HBO Max for free.
Yeah. If you pay for if you pay for HBO and Cinemax, you have it for free.
There you go. Well, seeing as I don't really pay for that. I get it through the condo association, so that's part of the package already. So it only took me what 2 months after HBO Max came out for me to realize that I I got HBO Max for free. I was like, really? Damn. I could have seen X, Y, and Z. I was like, damn it.
Yeah. Nah, you made me go look up James Bond to see that they pushed it back to October.
Okay. Okay. So
October.
yeah. So if it's October, then it will be over a year since it got first delayed.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of movies. Oh, we have our fellow brother tuning in on us now. Let me uh let me open up this new feature.
Ooh, we got a new feature. Cool.
You got new features. Detrons.
AT&T owns HBO Max. They own Warner Studios. So is that who? Okay, I see Deetron down at the bottom. No cable. Cut that cord years ago. Oh,
Mhm.
is this just in the chat?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's in the chat. So let me
Yeah,
I can't.
Deetron. Yeah, hook me up, Deetron, with that. Yeah, I think he had told us about it a few months ago.
Yeah, yeah. You only need the only thing you really need is internet.
Oh, okay.
And once you have internet, you can get everything else.
Well, Deetron, we need to talk, son. I mean, it's not like I watch a, you know, I'm one of those cats. I may have 300 things available options when it comes to television viewing, but I tend to be that person that watches a handful of stuff all the time.
Mhm.
You know, so I'm not seeking out all the time new things to watch. Um, I stream live through Pub TV. Okay, so I guess I can audio go look up Pub TV.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Now
Okay.
you see our new feature that's up there.
What's different with what it was before? It
Well, it wasn't up here like that before.
okay.
Nice. Now the viewers can actually see the message.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
It's kind of that's cool. $15 a month. Let's see. I'll think about that. NBA games, PPB fight. Okay, I'm not really interested in the fights, so that's not like a big deal, big thing for me. So if
Nah,
you want to talk about that about fight, sure.
they got me with both NBA games. Oh,
Well, it's all good though. It's all good though. But one of the things, to go back to how we started the conversation real quickly. Talk about COVID and stuff like that. Um, the hypocrisy of the blame game to me is just so stark. Um, when you're over here talking about recalling, Democratic governors and this that and the other, and in states where the governors are primarily Republicans, their numbers were crazier than most of the states.
hmm
They had high numbers of infections, high numbers of death, but it didn't seem to matter, that there's no call or talk about how they mismanage. You and I live here in Florida, and that's some crazy stuff that's going on. And when people talk about having a national, just a system, one system, I think the big problem is because we're so divided amongst ourselves in the 50 states. There's no unified protocol that will allow for a, a sort of more efficient um, distribution of vaccines for people. Um, there shouldn't be a reason why certain places have vaccine centers, have the vaccines for people, and nobody's showing up um, at at the centers because of the red tape that that has people have to go through online to get a freaking an appointment or what have you. You know, so I think that really sucks that we don't have a better distribution system. Yes, the numbers have gone up in terms of the amount of people who are being vaccinated daily and all that good stuff. But when it comes right down to the states, there's some states that are more efficient at what they're doing. Some states are still lagging, and that's just because we just don't have a uniform system where everybody. And I guess the more argument for the type of insurance, or the pay, was it the pay, the one payer system, what have you, or but just a national way of distributing stuff like this. So it's just a big problem in the efficiency.
Okay, I want to ask Detron a question since I know you're out there. Will you get the shot? What do you think about getting the shot? While you wait to post that, I would say this, Ari. One of the biggest problems why people were not showing up
Hmm.
is they was putting them in areas like they would say you could put it in a black area, but you don't notify the black area that you could get the shot, and you have people coming from other areas into that black area getting the shot, and people are looking like, "What's going on over there?" And then they
uh,
notify you a day later, "Oh yeah, we giving out shots," but you could have got them already.
so it's like we got this thing to help you, but we're not trying to help you because we're not informing you that there's this thing to help you and where you can go to get this thing to help you. Which is yeah, we're watching to see how people are affected, if at all. I hope my only thing is that I hope that if there is any underlying craziness, with the vaccines, that is, there's nothing that's been hidden, and that everything is, I guess that's part of the trust factor that I know this community, our community has. Always asking, what's been hidden from us. Are we really being used as guinea pigs or what have you?
Now,
So
hold on, Detroit. I want to ask why you feel that way. I'm just curious. Are you on lines with my thought path on it? Because you say you rather take your chances with COVID than the vaccine for right now. So for why are you making that statement for right now? Till you get more information, you see how it affects other people.
well, at least he's not ruled out
Hmm.
ever. He just says for now, as opposed to what, like that shot, no shot for us, but there's a but, or a yet, or what have you. There's some people's like, no shot for me, period. you know um and some people are just like, no, we don't trust this government, we don't trust this, we don't trust that. um so it's like that's like an uphill battle for a lot of people. And And this is not about being, uneducated, you know, like literally. It's just a matter of, like I said, what your understanding is and what people are educating the masses about. Most educated people can, sit and make their own decisions. Drug was former follow-up and made first. Drug was made fast. Yes, understood. Um, and I think that's what a lot of people are taking into consideration: the speed at which the drugs were made. But you know what's crazy though? So in February, so you know that most of the Moderna started started working on this thing in January. Okay, and in January we weren't being told anything. Okay, so people want to think that this they started working on this thing after they shut down the country. They started working on this thing in January. You know, so there's lots to be said when that dude gets his vaccine in secret with his wife and tell nobody. Don't even tell his people that it's safe to get, safe enough to get the vaccine, but he goes and get the vaccine, in secret before he leaves the White House. You know, um, crazy. But yeah, they've been working on this thing for since January, man. January last year. So but I do understand um, the the advancement in medicine and vaccine technology that has changed a lot. I think that has a lot to do with why this vaccine was delivered in the speed at which it was delivered. Um, so I mean, people can nobody should take my word for it. You know, I mean, everybody does have to go. Flu shot. I've never had a flu shot.
Mhm.
We'll get flu shots.
But
But yeah, go ahead.
I said I'm in agreement with Detron because just like how they just said they're gonna with the rollout with the vaccination for the kids, they're gonna try it on this amount of kids and see what happens within a year. There's no trial no trial period for the COVID vaccine for the adults. They made it and said we pushing it out. You really don't know how it's going to affect people in the long run.
Right, right.
Vaccinations takes that for them to actually have a good working vaccination. It takes a couple of years to get before it comes out to market. This only took a couple of months.
Yeah, for them, yeah, well, more than a couple months, but yeah. Um, I think we're in the trial period. I opt out in the trial period. So this is the trial period of the trial period.
Yeah, I know that. We gonna try it out on y'all to see how it affect us.
Well, goodness gracious. Well, given and I guess that everybody keeps harping on the fact that trust science, trust the science, trust the science. I definitely not. I would never sit there and listen to a politician tell me about medical stuff. That's for sure. And but like I said, everybody will have to make their own choices and make their own decision. At some point. You know, yeah or nay, and hopefully, with as we're moving towards the concept of herd immunity,
Mm-hmm.
um, by getting a majority of the people, but their goal is at least I think to vaccinate well 75% of the people. So that would steer you in the direction of herd immunity, and their whole goal is to get the level of infections down drastically, where you're not having, instead of having, you know, five, 1,000, 3,000 people being, infected a day, you're down to below, 100. I think that's the ultimate goal, um, where the instances, you know, um, I would
Yes and
think
no.
that it does make a difference because, you know, that person, black woman, scientist, should be, that's a person that should be on the forefront, on the front line in how the message is disseminated to people. If you have someone that look like us, we're at work on the vaccine, to be able to come out to John public and tell us, exactly what we need to know. Not just somebody, that doesn't look like us. Yeah, if there was a black woman that worked on the thing, yeah, yeah.
Well, I would say if she is one of the ones that was chief responsible for making the vaccination, um, why are they not pushing her to talk about it?
Yeah,
To make
that's my point in Kiev. So I guess, so now, that's another maybe of questions to ask. Are they restricting that, or they're just hoping that everything just goes through the mouthpieces that we see, on air, on radio, and stuff like that? But I think it may not influence, most people, but I think it would probably go a longer way in getting people to get to a point where they'll probably make up their minds to say, yes, I'll do this. Voter confidence, I think, comes. Um, it's a big deal if, the we hearing it from kind of sort of like the horse's mouth, if you would.
yeah, well, I would say I'll play devil advocate too and say, what if she doesn't really want to come out and talk about it? Why does she don't? Why does she feel that way?
Hmm. But I think a lot of the scientists, what did she's probably just understand that another lab with media isn't part of. And that's what I was about to allude to. But I think, a lot of the scientists, they oftentimes stay in the background. Um, you know, they're focused on the job, which is, getting that vaccine, getting it, developing it, make sure it's stable. It's doing the job of creating, helping to create the antibodies in your body, um, and it's stable enough that it's not going to cause any adverse, reactions. Hence the 95% efficacy rate, from Pfizer and Moderna. And I think in the testing that they're able to do when it comes to vaccines and vaccine production, um, that's a hell of a thing. And I think what I was saying earlier, vaccine technology has changed a lot, in the things that they're able to utilize, um, from even 4 years ago, maybe even five, you know. But I think, yeah, you may start seeing more vaccines getting developed even quicker, based on the tools that they have on hand. So hopefully you don't have to go, something like this. But I think in the world that we live in, you know, coronaviruses are problematic. You know, there's always going to be a new strain of something that comes out, and coronaviruses are not new, to us on this earth. They've been around for a long time. It's they mutate, and Yeah, that's why they're having such issues with these variants.
Okay, she been on CBS News. Okay. Well, I'm looking at the clock on the wall.
We need to put her on. We need to put her on CNN and MSNBC. You know,
Uh,
or even put her on Fox. Even put her on Fox, my brother. So
then they'll be twisting
the
it,
word needs to go out though.
talking about Biden on her.
Talking about what?
They'll be having her try to talk about Biden and how Trump helped push this through.
Listen, man. Um, well, you can always you can't say that about Pfizer because Pfizer didn't take any cue from them. Pfizer went in on its soul. It's like, okay, no, we don't want your help. We don't want your money. We gonna do this thing. And they, yes, they were definitely pushing Moderna because they invested out. And so you have to, and this. Anything that they're pushing is always that there's always going to be something about the bottom line. What happens in the
Mhm.
bottom line and the pockets of people who are pushing certain things to the forefront. And it's always going to be about the dollar sign and how much pockets get filled and lined. You know, just like remember when they first started and they gave the well, it wasn't even a bid when they gave Kodak, you know, people who make freaking film and stuff to make vaccines. But that was just a ploy to bump their stocks up, so the stocks went up. The owners, they made money, and in a couple of days, that stock dropped so fast, man. I thought the stock market went into orbit. All it does is act, but it was a ploy to for people to like a big money grab. You
Mhm.
know,
Well,
once
that's all his electoral term. It was just a big money grab.
the push to take the vaccine. Well, need to remember, the yes, there's a push to take the vaccine, but the even though he took it, he didn't tell anybody that he took it.
No, I
His
think
his
I'm just
whole
talking
thing,
about.
yeah, it's like this thing is bad. No, this thing is not so bad. Because that was his whole thing. But he never once came out and told his crowd, you know what, you should consider taking this vaccine. But while he's there telling or not telling his people anything, he secretly goes and gets vaccinated. So just think of how the politics would have changed if he had come out and his supporting minions had come out and say, look, this is what it is. You should go get vaccinated. But that didn't happen. So all the last year when they were telling us, when he was saying to his people, oh, this thing is gonna disappear, come summer, to be like it never happened. you know and here we are a year later, 500 and some thousand people have perished because of the ineptitude or the ineptness of the administration. So I think, yeah, the politics would have changed, and they roll that into the whole election foolishness, which is causing them to still criticize um, the vaccine deployment. So it's all wrapped into one ball, and they're trying to weaponize the hypocrisy of it, um, to serve their own cause.
All right. Well,
By
we're
the
gonna
way,
have.
before you go, are you paying any attention to to free agency in NFL?
Not yet. I'm still looking at who's going to get traded before the trade deadline for the NBA because
For the NBA. When's
yeah.
trade deadline for NBA?
Um, it
End of
should
this
be
month?
this week.
Mm.
Yeah, because they pushed it back because of the late start in the season. Because it usually comes before All Star break, but now it's
Okay.
after All Star break. And I'm
Okay.
saying like how teams are buying out old players, and now you see Blake Griffin is part of the Nets.
Right.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, they done added another star.
Yeah, so it's yeah. I saw a few of the players on there, and they look like they've really beefed up that team. Um, I know Blake Griffin is the same type of player he was, 6 years ago.
Well, they don't need them for the points. I would say be a more defensive presence, but yeah, he can get his points.
Okay.
But we need you more of a of being a defensive presence, blocking that lane up
Hmm.
and playing some D.
So I guess Kevin, is it Kevin? Um,
Kevin Durant.
yeah, Durant. So I guess he's still gonna be on the perimeter. Um, taking his shots and I guess driving when he yeah.
hmm Harden is going to do what he's going to do. Kyrie is going to do what he's going to do. They just need more defense. They still need to add somebody on
Hmm.
there. I want to see what the Lakers going to do because there's a couple of more free agents out there that like Drummond. Um, Houston is cleaning house, so
Oh
I
yeah.
want to see what they're going to do. They acting like they'll give up everybody.
Wow.
And Oladipo just got there, and they might be trading him again.
Damn. So they're
Mhm.
not looking. So basically, you're saying they're not looking to win nothing this year.
Yeah, they in straight rebuild. They
Okay.
I think they on let me see, uh Houston Rockets game streak. I think they was on a 16 game losing streak.
Oh wow. How good is how good are the Warriors playing? I mean, is everybody back in their camp from health?
No, no, Clay is still not back. They got promising players. They got promising players, but they are back in the back of the I don't even think they in playoffs with their record. What they playoffs Houston Rockets are on a 17 game losing streak
Oh wow. Yeah, they're
as
definitely
of
not looking
today.
for sure.
hmm
I guess yeah,
So
I guess when you lose a key, couple key players, then you'll start to see the makeup of your team. Whether it's resilient or not, whether you start to understand who you need to plug in now to start making your team better based on what you've lost. You know, um, yeah.
and
So
Golden State
is that
lost.
is that the
Golden
same
State,
for the Heat? Because I know they just recently broke. They're like on they're 50-50,
yeah, they're 500 now.
500 now.
Yeah, Golden State is 500 right now, but they just lost. They lost to the Lakers
Okay.
yesterday.
Well, the Lakers, they pretty much kept everybody that they had from last year, no?
Yeah, huh? I just saw something interesting. The Phoenix Suns. I've been slipping, and that's my team. The Phoenix Suns are number two in the West.
Uh-uh. They're making a comeback.
Mhm.
We haven't spoken about Phoenix Suns in years.
Yeah, since the '90s.
Okay.
Well, let me say that the early 2000s, the early
Yeah.
2000s.
when they were hot back then in the was
Mhm.
that the Danny Ainge era?
Danny Ainge, coach was Cotton Fitzsimmons and Paul Westfall. Those were the
Hmm.
two coaches back then.
Yeah. So they're gonna have to yeah, do some work, which
Yeah,
is good if they're all the way up there. So in the NFL, you think they're gonna trade Deshaun?
I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know.
he's asking for a trade, but sure.
Yeah, just because you ask Master to get off the plantation, don't mean he gonna let you go.
Yeah, well, the coach said as of now he's our starting quarterback. So.
Yeah, yeah, they got because I think it got to be a hell of a trade for him to get out of there, and I don't think teams are gonna really give it up.
Mm-hmm.
If he goes anywhere, I think it's gonna be on this coast. I think
Well,
it's gonna be.
they were talking a lot earlier in the last few months ago about trading him, trading Tua for him. Um, I don't think that's gonna happen though.
I'm afraid to say if he goes somewhere, it might be the Jets.
Yeah, they don't have no quarterback.
Yeah, might be the Jets or the
Or,
or
or Baltimore.
nah, not Baltimore. I would say back to the West Coast to the Chargers.
Mm,
Yeah, but I would hate for them to do my boy Tyrod like that.
right.
Yeah.
Wow. I guess it's because there's a lot of time left, in free agency market now. So we'll see what happens between now and the next few months.
Hey, my thing is that at Green Bay and give Aaron Rodgers a new contract. Let me see. Let me see what's going on. Did they give it to him yet? Because he's a free agent.
Hmm.
Yeah, he's the biggest cap hit
So I
too.
think yeah that and so I know Brady's not going to retire, but I think his ego is pushing him to see whether or not he can win another Super Bowl, in Tampa. I think he's going to retire next year.
If he wins another Super Bowl,
I'm literally gonna barf. I thought I was gonna barf this, but if no, I would literally barf. Like
do
I
you
go
know?
on
Do
camera and
you know
barf.
he has more rings than any NFL team
Yeah, yeah.
by himself? He has more Super Bowl rings than
What do
any
you got?
other
What's he? Oh, that's what's he got? 7.
He got 7. Pittsburgh was at 6.
Mm-mm-mm. Damn, that's crazy. That's just crazy. So I guess you got to ask, is it the team or is it the person? When he left, New England and come to Tampa, you know, is it the team or him? You know, but I think
But I'm
maybe,
saying too, at the same time, you added key pieces
yeah,
to that team. You added Antonio. You added Gronk. You had already had 2 good wide receivers there. Then you
mm.
added a nice complement of running backs. And
And
the
that
defense,
don't forget their defense
that
was
I was getting ready to say that, and the
very good.
defense was already there.
Yeah, the
The
defense
defense,
was very good.
yeah. So now you put all that in the pot. The gumbo is there.
Yeah. Mm. Well, I guess other teams didn't. I don't know. They did a good job. That's that's all I can say. They did a good job, and the staffing did a very good job. They didn't. not much was spoken about of all the assistant coaches, all the black assistant coaches. You know,
because they don't want to say nothing.
they really highlight that too much. They only like it was like boop, boop, they was gone. You know, I was like, wait a minute, they helped just like how black people saved democracy. They helped to win that Super Bowl too. Yeah, but
Yeah,
we
that,
continuously
that,
don't get the credit that we all deserve. When it's meaningful.
but I'm just laughing at Todd Bowles put that defense together, but y'all won't let him have a head coaching job. He was the head coach for the Jets, and he was
Mm,
doing a decent enough job there. You just ain't give as they do with most black coaches. Don't give them enough time to put it together.
right, right. Well, I mean, good now you have what? You get hired, you basically got 2 years. That's what you get. Normally you'd get you serve you sign like a 5 year contract, you know, and they're like, if things ain't going too great, the whispers come out after year 3, and definitely if nothing happens, you get axed year 4, you know. Yeah, they're still on the hook to pay your salary and stuff, but they don't really care, you
Yeah,
know.
but I'm saying like, but just like you said, if you look at it, how many years? How many years was he the coach for uh for uh
For the Jets,
for the Jets?
couple of years, wasn't
Mm,
he? Wasn't there long.
he was there. He was there a good time.
Yeah,
He got 4 years.
4 years.
Well, he
Yeah,
got 3 years. He got what you said, Ari. Third year.
third year the mumblers start come out. Yeah, if it ain't happening, boom.
But the problem was year one, the mumbling was out for him,
So,
and that's my thing. In year two, you were still mumbling.
mhm.
The mumbling got even louder. In year three, they mumbled even more to where he got out of there. But he was building.
Yeah,
You got
but yeah,
to build.
they weren't giving uh, the pieces fast enough. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
put those players fast enough. I mean, look when you look at Tampa, um, the makeup of that team changed literally overnight on the offensive end. You in one season, the offensive aspect of that team changed drastically by what? One, two, three, 5 players. They,
Mm-hmm.
4 or 5 players that they added changed the makeup and the confidence of that the offensive part of that team. You um, and where you have good players being put in a places, and they were not put in a place to fail. And I
Mm-hmm.
think a lot of times you see these, especially when you have black coaches, it almost seems as if they put these coaches in situations to fail, so they can justify. Already they're still grumbling about the what is that the Rooney Rule, where you need to interview, which kind of sucks because you can interview 10 black coaches that are high and none, but all you're
Mm-hmm.
doing is just making sure that you're adhering to protocol. Yeah, let's interview 5 black coaches, but we really want to hire that dude over there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just wait. Just wait right here till we finish these interviews. You got the job,
Yeah,
but
you
we just got to go through the motions.
yeah, we gotta go through the motions. Just hold tight. you know, I'm sure there's no email communicate that says that. But phone call here, hush hush share. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I mean,
We
the private conversation with the agent.
yeah, go out to a steak dinner, and yeah, we just chatting. This ain't an interview. We just chatting. We know how it goes, bro. We know how it goes, man. Shoot.
But
Oh,
we're gonna call it a night, folks. We'll catch you next week on the bridge. It's been love. Catch
mo-
y'all next week.
yeah, make sure y'all join me on Monday morning, 9:30, Ricky Smiley Morning Show. On Sundays, join me 7 o'clock. Sips, chews, and chats with Chef Ari. Yeah, baby.
All right, and we're out. The